The year is 1968. The day is February the 1st. Two Memphis garbage collectors, Echo Cole and Robert Walker, were on their way to work. And during their normal shift, something terrible happened. They were crushed to death by a malfunctioning truck. 11 days later, because the city would not respond to this long pattern of neglect and abuse of its black employees, 1,300 black men decided to have a strike on February the 12th. And what happened on February the 12th was astounding. You see, they didn't come out with signs saying, "Give us free rights, we need money, we need higher pay, we need more service." They simply had a sign that had 4 words: "I am a man. I am a man." And obviously we know that strike went on for a long time. Dr. King ended up showing up to Memphis, and as you know, he was assassinated in April of that month. But let's fast forward, Nemo. It is 2023. And black men in America are still saying, "I am a man," but we're not necessarily saying that I am a man to the system of, let's say, white supremacy as much, or to the government, or to unions. We're not saying that to them, at least not directly. The problem is we're still saying, "I am a man" to black women. Now let me just pause for a minute, okay? Think about this. Now, in today's world, we have a lot of professional black women. They're doing very well. They're in the industry. We know them. We went to school with them. Some of them we even like Rihanna. Now, Rihanna is a billionaire, not just a millionaire, a billionaire. She has a lot of exposure. But of course, one of the things that is very perpetual in today's world, Rihanna is a single mom, pregnant with a new child. And well, I want you guys to look at this photo here. This is the new copy of British Vogue. And of course, what we see is astounding if we really pay attention to the look. We have Rihanna holding A$AP Rocky's hand. He's holding the kid and she's in front. Now, looking at this, it looks very innocent, but a picture can describe 1,000 words. And I always use this clip that I'm going to talk about today, which is Dr. T. Hassan's classic definition of a husband-son.
Well, it was something I noticed. I actually had a brother reach out to me, and he was talking about, he was married and his wife is a 6-figure earner, and he talked about her girlfriends that would come over and complain about their husbands. And as he would talk about it, one of the things he shared with me is they had to ask for an allowance from their wives just to go hang out and drink a beer. So I was just kind of asking him some more questions about it. And one of the things he revealed is that this group of 6-figure earning women were all exclusively married to brothers who were ex-cons. And if anything, they were unemployed and to some extent homeless when they met. You know what I mean? And so now they're kind of house husbands, which there's nothing wrong with if that's what works for your relationship. But the problem was the women were actually complaining about the fact that they didn't have an income, complaining about the fact that they weren't the men that, you know, that they've been idealizing since they were young. And yet these were the men that they chose, right? And so he was confused, and he reached out to me because he was asking me, why is this the case? And as I started to look into it, I realized it really wasn't a whole lot different than son husbands. So, you know, we talk about son husbands as boys whose biological mothers kind of have them play husband roles in their lives, play roles that are really, you know, inappropriate. And it doesn't have to get sexual, but unfortunately there are times where it does. There's sexual violation in regard to that. But for the most part, when we talk about son husbands, these are biological offspring that are asked to play emotionally laborious roles for mothers that usually are reserved for, you know, men. With husband sons, one of the things I began to notice is that you had well-to-do women who were employed, who were educated, so on and so forth, and who would use the rationale that there were no other options, and they would choose men that were intentionally in such a low position that those men could not offer much challenge. So in other words, They were in the dominant position in the relationship. These men depended on them for hearth and home, for income, for food, for everything. And if there was so much as an argument, those men would be out on the street.
So see, that definition has to do with what we're dealing with today. Now, some of you guys are going to say, you know what, man, A$AP Rocky is rich. He has a lot of money. He's not a husband's son. I mean, he can take care of himself. And I know what you're saying, and I get that. But I want you to look at some relationships that we see in the social media world, and let's see if it makes sense. You know, have you ever seen, let's say, Serena Williams and Alexis Ohanian? Whenever they're together, doesn't it appear like she's the husband and he's the man? Sure, that's exactly what it is. When you look at Erykah Badu and J-Ron Atkinson, when you look at Lonnie Love and James Welsh, you see, all of these things have something in common here. The man is the new woman. And this is very clear, especially in Black America, where the women say there are not so many eligible black men. I mean, if you go to Madame Noir, you see it all the time. You go to Gossip, that's the complaint all the time. So if there are no eligible black men, we'll lead the black men that we have babies by. And we'll lead them. They'll have the baby and they'll hold the child. We are the new husbands. And see, when you're looking at this programming here, they're trying to make sense out of it. Really, they are. They're really trying to make sense out of it. But the issue is this. A lot of men just don't like this. A lot of men don't like this. Because we go back to that 1968 photo, especially dealing with black men. What do we see? What's the message? I am a man. I am a man. I am a man. And the problem with today's black men and black women is that still in 2023, the black man wants to be a man. Now, this is not to say that women don't want a man. There's a lot of black men, women would like a man. They're still women. But this whole idea that the black man must be led by a black female counterpart simply because she makes more money than him or she is, more astute financially doesn't work. See, the reality is this: no matter how good you want to make it look, yeah, A$AP Rocky is rich. Rihanna is richer. And because Rihanna couldn't get somebody richer than her, it tells the whole entire story that if you're a man and you make 100 million and your woman makes 300 million, she feels she has the imperative, or she feels she has the God-given right to lead you. You're in her world. You're not in your world. You're in her world. She is your daddy. She is your husband. You are a husband's son. And even though in Dr. Tiasan Johnson's remarks about husband sons, which reflected that most black men don't have anything, they're husband sons. If you're a black man that has less, even if you're successful, you're still a husband son. You will still be treated like the female in the relationship. Some guys don't have a problem with it, like A$AP Rocky. But a lot of black men who want to be a man, like those brothers in the February 12th sanitation strike, it's not going to work. Black men in today's world, during Black History Month, we are still shouting to whoever wants to hear it. We might not be the richest people. We might not be all the time the most hardworking or the most astute, but we're working on that. But ultimately, for most black men under the sound of my voice, they are saying profoundly, I am a man. And to depict me that like I am a woman or less than a woman is not okay. That is exactly why you see so many black men joining the Passport Bros, or black men getting in interracial relationships. They may not have everything, but the one thing that they want to be is a man. But the powers that be, now in this case, it was the Memphis sanitation companies and things like that neglecting black men. Now what we have is female-based media, white and also non-white, always depicting or trying to depict black men as being incompetent, can't lead. They can only be led by a woman. Like A$AP Rocky is not smart enough to do it himself. That's the narrative that they're trying to spin. And if you can't get a man on your level, it's okay. You can still have a baby by him as long as you lead him. And I don't think that's cool. But guys, what about you? What do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.